Hey y'all, from VoiceOver Jade. We're going to start off with some cardstock that I've cut down to the size of a piece of copy paper so that we can run it through the printer. If you have a plain napkin, that's great. I don't. Mine is too small, so I'm going to use this decorative napkin, but I'm going to get rid of the picture part and just use the plain side on the back. You can see a faint look of the coloring, but it doesn't matter. You won't see it in the end. I like to iron out the creases in my napkin before I use it. That way it just looks smooth. And we're going to use some double-sided tape and attach this napkin to the copy paper. And that makes it durable enough to go through the printer. There's no need to buy decorative napkins if you have a printer. And I just have a regular cheap inkjet printer. Nothing special required. You can literally print whatever you want onto a napkin for decoupage. And that's what we're going to do here. I went to Canva and I picked out a nice, I typed in watercolor winter landscape, and it gave me a nice little set of pictures to choose from. I'm just using my blade tool here, and I'm trimming the excess napkin off. Then I'll run my heat press over this one more time just to make sure it's nice and flat. And there you have it. A beautiful little picture on a napkin ready to decoupage. Now I went out in my yard and I cut some twigs. We're going to make a picture frame here to make it look like a window. I was going for like an old cabin in the woods, you know. And I'm going to use some hot glue and just tack down the front. Make sure you have your sticks turned the way you want them. I had to reset mine. I wanted all of the knots in the front for more character. So yeah, just tack this down, let it dry so that we can flip it over. And then on the back, we're going to put wood glue at all of the joints. That way it will be nice and sturdy. Now, I like to buy my glue and put them in these little cups here. That way I can poke a hole in the lid and keep my glue brush in there, and then I'm not wasting glue brushes. Because I always leave them out and they dry up, or they just don't wash, the glue doesn't wash out very well. This way reduces a lot of waste. You're just going to let this dry for about 30 minutes. Then you're ready to go. Now, there may be a better way to do this. I don't know. I was just making it up as I went along. I got this shower curtain, and we're going to glue a piece of this to the front and the back of this napkin. Because I wanted it to have like a stained glass look. I wanted it to look like there was glass on it. If you know of a better way to do this, I guess if you have a laminator, you could have done that. But if you know of a better way to get this look, please let me know. I love to learn. So I've got a scrap piece of cardstock here. We're just going to line it with the double-sided tape. And then it's better to lay your plastic down and put the paper on top of it. That way it gets on there straight, because once the plastic touches that tape, you can't move it around. It will rip the plastic. Yep, and then I'm just going to put Mod Podge all over this and let it dry. And I do use my heat gun to help this dry, but on the cool setting, not the heat setting. And it looks like there's still some wet there. Probably is on the underside, but it's dry to the touch, and that's good enough. Now we're just going to remove our napkin with our razor tool and put this down there. It doesn't matter which side, because we're going to do it on both sides. Do not leave your iron down very long, just quick, straight swipes, because it will melt the plastic if you're not careful. Again, just use your razor tool to remove what you've just done. And the reason we put it on the cardstock is to keep it from curling up while we're gluing it. So now we're going to lay this under something heavy while we prepare the next step. I put it under my working board there. This piece of plastic we're going to tape down to your workstation. And again, cover it with Mod Podge. I like to just use my fingers. It makes a much smoother surface there. And I'm showing you here I use my heat gun on the cool setting. And again, it's dry to the touch. Let's get our little napkin out here, and we're going to do the other side. Now this time, I found that doing this one with the plastic up there, we've already done this side, see? You need to put a piece of copy paper down and your parchment paper. That way it doesn't stick. Your paper will stick to the outside edge, okay? The plastic that doesn't have the napkin under it, it's going to stick there, so you're just going to rip this paper off. But it doesn't rip your picture. You see, it just sticks to the edge that has no picture in it. Again, if you know a way to get this effect without, that's maybe more easy or simpler, please let me know in the comments. I was literally just making this up as I went. This is a very nice therapy project. I love a project that I can just get lost in decorating. And you'll see in the end it's really nice. It's all about the details that make the finished project very therapeutic. Makes you feel good. Alright, I'm just checking to make sure it fit. Then we're just going to, you can see which side's the front. The colors are more vibrant on the front of the napkin. So just lay the front facing down. That way that's what's showing through your window. Decide which side you want to be the top. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start in the very middle. That way it doesn't shift. We're just going to put some glue there to hold it. And then we're going to work from the middle out on each side. Alright, turn it around and do the other side. And there you have it. I am going to add some glue around the inside of each window square there. And this is going to be decorated on the front, so you won't see all of the glue spots. Now this is just some of the jute twine from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to show you how I put it around each knuckle there. You know, when you cut the twine apart from Dollar Tree, it tends to want to unravel, so this is how I do it to keep it together. I just cover the end with glue and press it straight down. I measured how much I needed and then cut it off. Then you have another side that wants to unravel. You cover the entire end with glue there, and then put your glue down on your project and then press it straight down. That's the easiest way I've found to keep it from unraveling while you're trying to work with it. And I'm just going to put that on every spot where the wood meets. I end up putting a bird's nest and stuff on here. I create a story in my head for whatever I'm making. And, well, you'll see in a minute. So, this moss, the reindeer moss from Dollar Tree, I like to take the entire bag out and I shake it around and I pick through it, okay? Because if you pick through it, you can find the prettiest pieces in there, okay? Like beautiful little twigs, leaves, the little black pieces of moss, I like to set them out. And look, here's a leaf, okay? Every bag I find at least one leaf, and it's the most perfect tiny little leaf. You see that? So yeah, I set all these pieces aside and I use them for my final details in projects. There's these little furry looking pieces that are in there. Yeah, so just take the time and look through your moss. Now, I can never find Spanish moss at my Dollar Trees, but I found several bags of these for 69 cents at my Goodwill. So, yeah. We're going to make a bird nest. You see there, you want to cut a long piece off. You want to leave it in a long shape. That way, you don't have a bunch of little tiny pieces falling apart. Then you just put some glue and you wrap it around in a circle. And use your thumbs to push down in the middle and just spin it around, adding glue and shaping until you get a perfect little bird nest. I love making bird nests. Like I was saying earlier, I think I have time to tell you here, there's a story to most of my projects. So in my head, I was seeing an old cabin that's fallen apart. Maybe the windows, the glass in the window panes have been busted out some, and so some of the elements are getting into the cabin, but it's still a safe place. So this mama bird flew into this cabin that's fallen down and laid her eggs so her babies would be safe. Yeah, okay. So that's the theme. Now, I just showed you that foam clay you can get at Hobby Lobby for like $3. So you can make your little bird eggs out of that. But I like to use little pearls. Okay, now I'm showing you what I found in my... I'm so all over the place here. I try to make the video short, so I cut out everything that's not very important. So when I go to do my voiceover, I don't have time to tell you stories. I have to just tell you what I'm doing. I think the voiceover is the hardest part for me. But yeah, okay, so I showed you all my goodies. I told you the story of the theme of this project. The bird there, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to use it. It seemed a little too big, but I do end up using it in the end. Now is when I do my bird nest. I add all of the little details. So I put a little piece of the green moss as like a little fluffy bed for the eggs, okay? This is where you want to take your time, and you really want to pay attention to all the little details that you might see in a bird nest if you were, looking at it up close. These little pearls, I absolutely love them for bird eggs. They're actually beads. I get them at Hobby Lobby, but they're just, I don't know. I like pearls, and I like using them for bird nests. Now, it felt like they were falling in here, so I'm just pushing them up and adding a little more moss underneath of them. And then I take my little unique pieces here, and I strategically place them. Like this is a tiny piece of bark. I like to add the little furry looking pieces laying across there because they kind of look like a piece of feather, that might have broken off from Mom, and it's just laying over the egg. Then I'm going to take the little leaf here, and I like to lay it over one of the eggs so it looks like a little leaf just floated through one of the cracks in the window and landed in the nest. And then I just take these little twigs and stuff and place them throughout the bird nest. This is my favorite part. And probably nobody in the world besides me is ever even going to see this bird nest. I think I get like 3 people that watch my videos here. But it is fulfilling for me to make these and to do all of the extra little details. It makes me feel good inside. So when you're having a day where you don't feel like doing housework, it's too cold or rainy to go outside, sit in the house and make a project like this. And before you know it, the day's over with. Because I spent a lot of time making this. But it, again, is very pleasing. Now look at that. Is that not a beautiful bird nest? It is, okay? Now, we want to make this window frame here look like it's been sitting out in the woods for a while. And we're going to add some moss, Spanish moss, around the inside edge of the entire frame. And then I took, moss, you have a lot of moss dust, tiny little pieces, and I glued them to each joint to kind of blend in the jute twine we added there. I found a few cool little sticks in my Spanish moss, and I added them sticking out by the bird's nest. And then I thought some green moss would be cute on top to give it some life. You got all this dead stuff around here. But moss likes to grow on top of logs, and since the window is made of a log, I thought maybe we could put some on top. And it's winter, everything is brown, so it'd be nice to look on the wall and see a little bit of color. And you use your imagination, and you just do yours however you like. I'm just picking the glue hairs and the wild Spanish moss. I thought this needed a little more green. These are just some random floral picks I have. I think these came from Dollar General a couple years ago. And I'm just going to put a few around the bottom. And I just cut them down to make them fit. Oh, I also have a couple pine cones I added in there. It's winter time, so you don't want to add many flowers. Now, if you added a spring or summer background image, then you could add pretty colorful flowers in here. But I'm thinking it's winter. There's probably not that many flowers blooming. I have these little red beads, and I'm just putting them in the middle. I don't know. You do see red berries in the winter, so I figured that was fitting. Now I'm going to add some snow, because our window is busted, so a little bit of snow has probably flown in through the cracks, and it's nestled on the surface of the window frame. And this is just Dollar Tree snow, and I put my glue down and then my snow, and then I like to press it in with my finger just to make sure enough of it sticks. I'm going to put some on my little sticks there and some on my pine cones. And we're almost finished. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments if you like this project. Is it something you might attempt yourself, or is it too much work? Now, I decided to add lights on the back with some painter's tape, because if you use glue, you can't reposition them. But yeah, look, I got the bird added, and yeah, let me know in the comments. Is this something you would try, or is it just too much detail, too much work? These are the kind of projects I like to make, but I don't know if everybody likes to watch me make them. I feel like people might get bored watching me do stuff like this. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this project. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. And yeah, have a great day.